All right, everybody, welcome to Purveyors of Health. It's another installment. We've got a very special guest today, my friend John Paul Kingston, JP Kingston. He is a entrepreneur and organic food purveyor and a man of many talents. And JP, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Oh man, I'm living the dream every single day. Happy to be on here, man.
It's so good to have you, man. And we're talking a little bit today about being a digital nomad because you've been living all over the country, living the van life, and originally from Nebraska, right?
Yep.
And now you're in California. And yeah, man, I'm just going to open up to you, man, let you speak because you're a leader in this community. And I think people really want to hear what you have to say. So if anyone has any questions for you, though, feel free to chime in. And, if you're not talking, please mute yourself. And otherwise, take it away, JP.
Yeah. Oh, cool, man. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me on. Being a digital nomad and living my life free was always like my intention. It was always the dream of my life. I went to school for exercise science, sports psychology, ended up studying holistic lifestyle coaching and became a personal trainer. But none of that really fulfilled me. I was always lusting, calling for the road, calling for, being able to live free, to work from wherever I was. And I didn't necessarily know how I was going to do that, but I made an ode to myself to just figure it out, to just start sharing my heart as much as I possibly could, to sharing my passions, which were in the realms of holistic health, were organic superfoods, organic food, breath work, cold water therapy. At one point it was fly fishing that I was really passionate about and sharing that with people. And so I just began to continue to just step into my highest excitement. And one thing led to another. And I began to learn more and more about how to exist in my perfectness. And I feel like that is something that we almost are deconditioned out of. We're conditioned to be all these other things, be this hardworking person, be this individual to, just work for the house, work for, building your family. And not saying that any of those things are wrong, but not many of us are really taught to exist in our own passions, our own perfectness of what we're born into. And so I really began to just continue to embody that every single day. It was about 4 years ago when I had a really near-death experience, a really close call. I was in Oregon. I was living in Oregon for about 2.5 months, and then I was driving back to Nebraska. And I had been trying to get jobs at grocery stores. I couldn't find anything. Like, I applied to one grocery store 5 freaking times, and I went back for like interview after interview after interview. I'm like, what am I doing wrong here? Like, this is just a grocery store. And I ended up having like a very psychedelic experience where, I was really questioning who I was and what my purpose was on this planet. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go back to Nebraska. My time here is up. And so started driving back. I'm crossing the Utah border into Wyoming. And this was like early spring. So there's still a lot of snow on the ground. In Utah, the salt bed, it melts all of the snow on the roads. And so driving through the snow of Utah, it was fine. But then I crossed over into the Wyoming border, and going down this giant hill. They call it Devil's Hill. And I'm going about 75 miles an hour, and it's really slushy. And I ended up switching over into the right-hand lane, and my back 2 tires just start fishtailing. And I lose control, and I'm sliding into the ditch. And all of a sudden my front end clips, and I barrel roll in the air. And I wasn't wearing a seatbelt at the time, and I just felt myself floating. And at that point, I was like, okay, God, take me away. Like, take me where I need to go. And I don't know if you've ever been skiing or snowboarding, but when you clip your edge and you kind of just like lose it, and all you can do is just let go and surrender. Like JL said, surrender. And that's what I did. I took my hands off. I said, okay, here it is. And I can even like feel it right now, just like this weightlessness of life. And I ended up landing on top of my vehicle, totaled it, completely crashed, and I ended up just crawling out of the vehicle like it was nothing. Like I just like was there, and I just pulled myself out, and there was not a scratch on my body at all. And I remember just looking up into the sky, and I was like, you know, there was adrenaline flowing through me. My heart rush was just pounding, but there was also a sense of complete peace and stillness in my life. And from that point on, I knew that there was angels looking after me. There was God like holding me in my life. And what I wasn't doing was living in my highest excitement. I wasn't living in my passions and my dreams. I was trying to find some other source of installment to make money. I was trying to find, you know, somebody else to give me this validation, this value of life. And it was in that moment where I realized that I have to live my passion. I have to live my purpose. And so yeah, it was funny. I'll continue on with the story a little bit, but you know, car after car was pulling up next to me, and they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And eventually one truck pulls up, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to just hang out in our truck?" And it was this family of four. Dad's driving, mom's in the passenger seat, and then there's two kids in the back. And I get in, I open up the door, and I get into the back, and these two kids are just looking at me. They're like, what did you just do? How are you still alive? And they're like, do we need to call like an ambulance or anything? I'm like, I'm more than okay. I'm just super blessed to be here. I have a complete new appreciation for life. And yeah, it was in that moment where I saw these two kids looking up at me like I was some sort of angel or something. And I realized that the angels were always around me, and all I have to do is step into my purpose. And you know, I share that message because it's really what drove me to begin to do these crazy things, like do things that, you know, my parents are like, what are you want to go where? You want to do this? You want to do what? And you know, from that point on, I decided to live the JPK experience, you know, live you know, my own experiment in life. And it's really brought me to where I am today. And I don't share that story with too many people, but it you know, the more that I honor it and realize like it is what has allowed me to live this life of a digital nomad. And yeah, you know, and so I hope that you don't have to go through an experience like that to realize that, you know, there's angels around you. There's, you know, you are supported by the universe. You are supported by God. And all you have to do is really live your highest excitement and do the crazy things that your heart is calling you to do. Stop listening to your mind. Stop listening to the voices of other people and really follow your body, follow your heart, because it's guiding you in every single moment. And, you know, when we honor that and we exist with the perfectness that we were born into, you can really do, you know, what your heart calls and your dreams, desires are. And so, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that for right now.
Wow, JP. Oh, battling for the mic. I said, wow, JP. Yeah, I never heard that story before. And you were one of the first interviews I've ever done during this whole experience, so to speak. And I find that really fascinating that there are parts of us that we tend to kind of like put away pretty far. But they're like these igniting forces that are with us every single day that we do decide to take a step into closer into our passion. So thank you for that reminder, because you're reminding me of things that I've experienced that have shifted my course and direction in this life. And I appreciate you so much. And I'm so happy that you're here to tell that story. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You know, we all have certain little experiences that do shift us, that do ignite little things within us. And we just got to continue to follow into it and remember it and honor it, because we've had these experiences for a reason. Yeah.
JP,
Go ahead.
let me ask you about becoming the digital nomad. You know, now you're kind of getting settled a little bit there here on the West Coast, but you were working your business, you know, on the road. How much of a challenge is that, being, you know, from that perspective of being a digital nomad? What is some of the challenges and what are some of the benefits of being free, but yeah, with that freedom there comes a kind of a caveat to that. How has that been for you?
Yeah, so I'll kind of go back a little bit. About 3 years ago, about 2.5, 3 years ago, my partner and I at the time, we purchased a van, an old 1988 E350. We had just got back from traveling in Hawaii and Thailand and Bali, Indonesia, and we decided like, hey, let's do van life, and we'll just figure out what we need to do from that point on. And so we ended up converting a van, and you know, had the whole setup. We had you know, battery bank, little kitchenette, refrigerator, and in an old van. And so it was amazing being able to go wherever I wanted to go. And we had we had, you know, solar panels to keep our phones charged and our and computers going. But you know, one of the big challenges is you got to find service. You got to find places to stay. We would use a lot of BLM, Bureau of Land Management here in the United States, free camping, stuff like that. But you really have to succumb to the unknowns of the road, because an old van can break down at any time. And you know, I never saw myself as a mechanic. I was never mechanically minded, but I sure as hell had to figure out how to, you know, change out tubes and you know, pull a wrench and pull out parts, and you know, do things that I was like, man, why am I doing this right now? Like, I don't want to freaking have to change out this whole part, drop this whole piece to put this back up. I got work to do. And so you really do, you know, but that in that moment, it taught me more of this art of surrender. You know, you just have to let go and just allow the things to happen, because you know, it is a part of the process. And so, you know, being a digital nomad is awesome, because you can live free, you can be wherever you are, but you know, you still got the same freaking challenges that you have when you're in a house, when you're, you know, stable. You know, there's still things that come up, stressors that will you know, pull you away from the things that you really want to do. But it's in those moments where you realize like it's all a part of it. And the more that we can accept the reality of that we're living in, the more we find the peace, the more we find the happiness in those moments to just be like, yeah, whatever, like I'll get this taken care of. And you know, but we can really stress ourselves out, and you know, that's what oftentimes kills people. Stress is, you know, one of the biggest killers of life. And so, you know, practicing meditation, practicing qigong, practicing breath work, and really accepting your life, accepting the situation that you're in. I just put up a post today. It's like, acknowledge the situation that you're in, accept it, feel the situation, feel the anger, feel the stress, feel the chaos, and then just sit with it and find your own peace within it. And that's how we really transcend our life, is just letting it happen and then being like, okay, I felt it, it's time to move on. And so we all have got, different challenges that we're all going through, no matter if whatever you are, if you're a mother, you're a doctor, you're a manual laborer, digital nomad, we all have crazy challenges that we're going through. And so it doesn't matter. Does that answer your question, Angelo?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, I can only imagine some of that stuff being not so good with working on cars myself, like that's one of the reasons why I don't want to have a car, because with all the freedom of having a vehicle comes all the other pains in the ass that, are involved with it. So totally understand. So how hard is it for you to run a business like that way? Like, is that, how is that doable?
Man, it's a challenge for sure, but if you want something bad enough, you can get it. And but I've had a lot of friends or a lot of people come into my realm, and they're like, hey, I want to do what you do. I'm like, okay, but know that it's not just all peaches and cream. And they're always like, man, how do you do this? Like, I'm trying to travel and I'm trying to just work while I'm traveling, and I'm taking like a 2-week vacation, and I can't even imagine how you're doing this. But so to build a business on the road, it really does require dedication. It requires a sense of rhythm, a sense of routine. But at the same time, really it is, and you, Angelo, you're documenting your life all the time. And, I think the more value that you can bring to people's lives and anything that you do, the more that you can really support people. And, it doesn't have to necessarily mean you're always like creating content, or you're always like figuring out, crunching the numbers of what you're doing, or stressing out about your business. It really is just, how can you support and bring value to people's lives? And that was always my intention, is like, I'm just here to share my own experience and maximize and utilize the power of attraction marketing. And then take every, moments out of my day to not be out in nature, but to like just genuinely connect with people. And that's allowed me to build a business. But you've got to have systems in place. You got to have the rituals, the routines, your non-negotiables. And I think when you really make a standard for yourself, when you set up the boundaries of your life, and you say, this is what I'm going to do in this moment, and then I'm going to let go, and I'm just going to go out and begin to create. That's what's really helped me the most. One of my mentors, he brought this to my awareness. And when I began to like really look at this phrase, and again, I talk about it just existing and surrendering. But it really didn't, much of this didn't like hit me until my mentor said, don't just let go and let God. I mean, that's the phrase that I use, let go and let God. But he asked me, are you okay letting go and letting God do the work? And so in those moments where I'm like, on the road, and I'm like, working away for a couple hours in the day, I had to really ask myself, am I going to be okay going out into nature, going rock climbing, going fishing, doing, a polar plunge, and letting God do the work while I'm doing my thing? Because that's why we put ourselves on social media. So we don't have to always have our, an interaction with somebody. We put ourselves on social media so it's there and somebody will find us. But the more that we step into our passion, the more that we step in and let go of control, and then let somebody watch what we're doing, that shows up in the content that we produce. That passion, that fire, that energy shows up. But if we're constantly just like trying to grind it out and push and like control, then that also shows up in our work. That also shows up in the content that we produce. And so we really do need to just set it aside and go into our own passions. So then our vitality, our aura is bright and it's shining and it's penetrating into everything that we're creating.
Powerful words from a powerful man. Thank you, brother. I think that's so true. I think so many people, all of us here included, have gifts that we are not even sometimes aware of. You know, we have so much ability, and people are like, JP, how do you do all that you do? And I think, just like you said, surrendering to, you know, God, surrendering to the universe, surrendering to the moment, and just being authentic. And that's what I think has made you such hard work is definitely a part of that equation, no doubt. But I think it comes easier to people who actually surrender. So I think that's a very valid point that you bring up there, man. So what, going back to like the, I'm coming from a network marketing perspective. They say have a why with whatever you do. I guess it's not just network marketing, but with anything. What's your big why in life right now?
Yeah, I mean, that's always evolving for me. You know, and in short, it's really to empower people to their greatest version of self. You know, raise the consciousness of humanity. And you know, big why that's really popping up in my life is being able to support my mother, my father, help them retire because they really don't have those systems in place. And I feel like, you know, they've done so much for my life that the least that I can do is to give it back to them. And so, yeah, I've got my mom on my team right now, and I'm helping her grow her business, and but to also really, you know, be able to create that financial stability so I can retire my parents, and to also, you know, contribute, give back to humanity. I really feel that the more energy, the more currency that I have coming into my life, as far as dollars, as far as abundance and wealth, the more I can really give myself, the more I can authentically be more of who I really am. And so, you know, when it comes down to it, it really is to empower humans to be their best, to live their perfect existence, because we're all worthy of that. We really are. And so the more money that I have coming into my life, the more I can invest in somebody's dreams, the more I can light somebody up. And, you know, when they've got something that they're super passionate about, that they're, you know, I like to buy things. I never did like to buy things, but now I'm like, man, I want to support people. I want to buy something from somebody who's really passionate about, whether that's a piece of art, whether that's supporting their music, whether that's a jewelry or a piece of clothing. When I can support them and see their faces light up, I know that I'm contributing back to their life. And so, you know, just bringing more of this currency into my life so I can continue to give. That's my big why right now, man.
Beautiful. Beautiful, man. I think that's important to have a why in your life, and service is always one of the most important ones, as far as I can tell in my own life. Does anybody out there want to ask any questions of JP? We've got him here, so, you know, take advantage. I mean, we've got a great mind here. So anybody want to pop on and chime in? Or
yeah, JP, I had a quick question for you, man.
Yeah, man.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Awesome story. And I was curious, your relationship with Raw. I always see you guys hanging out. Like, how long have you known each other? How'd you guys meet? And yeah, you know, I was just curious because, you know, Raw's a big mentor of mine, and so is Seema. So yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah. So I got into I'd first heard about Purium like 7 years ago, maybe. I was living in Colorado, and a guy, he was trying to get me on some superfoods. And I'm like, nah, man, I just eat real food. Like, I don't want no powders in my body. And then I started following Troy Casey, certified health nut. And he triggered the fuck out of me. Like I didn't like Troy. He just like bothered me, but what it was, parts of myself that I wasn't comfortable with, parts of myself that I didn't like. And anyways, he was always talking about cleansing, and he actually had talked about drinking his urine. And I was like, what? Like, what? And then my buddy like hit me up. He's like, yo, you see Troy, he's drinking his pee. You should try it. And I was like, all right. And so I tried it out, and it helped a lot. And so like from that point on, I was like, all right, Troy's onto something here. Because I was noticing some crazy benefits. And so then I did a transformation, or I did like a 10-day transformation with Troy. And from that point on, it's like, okay, like I'm gonna do Purium. I'm gonna, like, when the timing's right, I'm gonna just go all out into this. I don't even know what I'm doing, but I feel like, this can help me with my business. I was trying to build a holistic lifestyle coaching business. And so, yeah, I was like, all right, this is it. I'm just waiting for the right moment when I've got the funds in anyways. So then it was like shortly after that I started seeing him with Raw. And then I started following Raw, and like was just really drawn to him. I thought he was a unique human and individual, and someone who had a lot of wisdom to share. And so I just started following him, and I think I started his Kriya of the Week. I don't know if he had that at the time, but no, he didn't, because he had just got into Purium, and he was offering like 10 days of breath work with a transformation at the time, like right in the beginning. And so I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to do this 10 days of breath work. I'm going to sign up under Raw, and I'll start my business. And so that's what I did. And I spent about $500 in superfoods. And then I get a call from Ron. He's like, yo, do you know what this means? I'm like, no, not really. He's like, well, cool. Read this book, and, we'll stay in touch. And so he told me, he's like, look, man, like, you've heard Troy. He tells people that he charges $300 an hour for people to work with him one-on-one. And I was kind of just like a fanboy of Raw at the time. And like, here I am, like on a phone call with him. And he's like, yeah, if you want to continue to work with me, here's some things that you'll want to do. And so I was just like, all right. I created a list. I started, just doing all the things that he encouraged me to do. And I think I was one of his first brand partners. And yeah, from that point on, I just continued to build my business. And I honestly hadn't met him in person until about 2 months ago. I'd been working with him, had multiple conversations. He's inspired me a ton. He's been a huge mentor to me virtually. I've learned so much. And but really, when I did like get to hug him in person, it was like I'd known him my whole life. And so yeah, I actually helped him and Seema out with dog sitting Solar for the month when they were out in Hawaii. And so became really close with Solar and their family. And but yeah, man, that's kind of my relationship with Raw.
Thank you.
Long-winded.
I like to talk. I don't know. So sometimes it's
we like to listen to you, bro. We like to listen to you talk. We want to know, for people out there who maybe aren't too familiar with what you do with Purium, like how do you get involved with it, and like what are some of the misconceptions maybe about what you do? Why is it a viable option for someone to do this? And you said before that, yeah, I don't really want to do this kind of work. I already know. I kind of came into it with the same attitude. Like, I've been juicing, organic juicing for years before. And then I was like, I don't need some shake or whatever it is. And then I got into the business all of a sudden too. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, give us a little bit about like your take on all of that and how you got like all in on it. Was it gradual? Was it just something that you just did, or how did that work out?
Yeah. So, going back, like it was always my intention to, be a digital nomad. Like when I was living in Colorado, I was looking at like affiliate marketing. I was looking at how to exploit YouTube, but just didn't have the right understanding, the right business aptitude. Before I got into this, I was trying to build a holistic lifestyle coaching business, and I was doing personal training on the side. But I had found like that there was potential. And so when Rob introduced me to Purium, or for that first phone call, he said, read this book. And it was like the 45-second presentation or something like that. And it just laid out the potential of network marketing, the potential of direct sales. And I really like felt like that is something that I could do. It doesn't take a ton of time to build in the beginning. Yeah, there's work, there's effort that's involved, but it just like laid it out like, here's how you can do it if you think about it in this way. And so that sparked the idea of like, okay, this is a legitimate business opportunity here. This is something that I really feel that I can step into because, one, I'm passionate about helping people be healthy. Two, I did really, at that time, I was like, I am aligned with these products. And I feel like these are things that I can share with people authentically. And they also align with my mission of empowering people to be healthier and happier and wealthier. And so in the beginning, I had no idea what I was doing. And I don't think Ra and Seema either, they didn't know what they were doing either. We were kind of just running around with chickens, like with our heads cut off. And so, but I was seeing like incremental levels of success. I think it took me about, I don't know, 5 months before I really made any money. But that was because we didn't know what we were doing. But then there was this major shift when Seema went to this whole conference and she came back and like basically said, okay, we've been doing this all bass backwards. Let's do it this way. And from that point on, we began to tap in. And so it was gradual in a sense, but from the beginning, I was like, this is what I want to do. And I just kept saying like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And I'm committed to this. And then there was a little bit better mentorship that happened where like, okay, we don't have to be all like Troy Casey. We just have to be, the individual of ourself, and we get to utilize the systems that are already in place with network marketing. And when you can tap into that, man, it really is quite simple. And it comes down to just sharing your heart, sharing your story, sharing your passions, and then providing an opportunity for somebody, presenting, an exposure to somebody. And the more that we do that, the more that people can see themselves doing the same thing, because the whole business comes down to duplication. And so you want to make it duplicable for everybody around you. And then when they see you just sharing your story, sharing your passions, and then presenting an opportunity, then they see themselves doing that. And so, it was a little gradual, but from the beginning, I was like, this is what I want to do, because I could see myself living this digital nomad life. And then from that point on, after about those 6 months, when I began to work to make money, that's when I really hit the road full time, and was creating even more self-sustainability, because I was living in alignment with, my passions. I was simply sharing, the things that I love to do, and utilizing the marketing of attraction. And so, yeah. Did I leave anything? Was there anything else you wanted me to answer?
No, I think that's great. I think a lot of people don't realize their own power. Like we said earlier, a lot of people in our society has kind of trained us all to be conforming to a system in a way, and believe that we're not worthy of being our own leaders and to be leaders in our communities and our societies. And that was a limiting mindset that I had for a long time. I never thought of myself as any sort of an entrepreneur or anything. This is actually my first foray into anything like this. And sure, there's a lot I didn't learn, but I've probably learned more from the free Zooms that I've attended and just listening to some of my mentors than I have in, my undergraduate in college. I've learned about, business. I've learned about organization. I've learned about team building. I've learned about nutrition. I've learned about a lot of different things, and people pay tens of or hundreds of thousands of dollars to get this kind of education. And all we have to do is, eat organic superfoods and share that with other people, which is a beautiful thing. So I feel blessed personally just to be involved with this Purium vision, because I don't see anything else out there like it that has such a dynamic and high vibrational product.
Yeah. And when I first got into this, it was like, holy cow, I feel like I have a community around me that supports me wholly. Like, that was something that really shifted my entire life. And I remember having a conversation with my sister, and she's like, I was like, I don't even know what I stepped into, but I've got like people around me that care deeply, that are high vibrational, that I feel celebrated with, because, what I was doing, I was working with my dad, and I just felt like I was tolerated and I was undervalued as a human. And that's not like, the relationship that I had with my dad. It was just the relationship that I had with my employer, and who was my dad. And I didn't want that relationship anymore. And so when I stepped into this, I was like, whoa, there's this community. And then at the same time, there's also the personal development that we get. It's we say it's all the time. It's, you get a personal development program with a compensation plan, right? But I've personally grown my social media following, like, I don't know, 1,000+ people in the last year, just by utilizing the education that we have, that's available to us all. I've created more content than I ever imagined, just by being myself and utilizing the platforms, utilizing the structure that we have available to us. And then learning business aptitude and business skills and communication skills are completely invaluable. Those who can present the most are the ones who win the most. And that was something that I was always afraid of, was being up on stage and sharing, my passions, my story. But now it's something that I love to do. And I realized in those years, 3, 4, 5 years ago, like, that was the cave that I needed to step into the most. And I feel like that's the cave most of us really need to step into, is being a leader and presenting and sharing our stories, because our stories do have a lot of value, and your story is what's going to change the world. And so you've gone through experiences in your life that other people have gone through, and you figured out ways to overcome certain challenges, and they're also looking for ways to overcome these challenges. And you're basically just pulling somebody up the ladder, the same ladder that you're on. So share your challenges, share, your story, and provide that ability, that inspiration, that education for somebody to climb up that ladder right there with you.
Amen, brother. Amen to that. Does anyone else want to share anything? I know we got JL, Mama J, on the line. She's an executive within Purium. Do you want to share anything that you've taken away from your experience with it, JL?
Sure. I was just mentioning in the chat, listening to JP, it's interesting as I hear people's testimony, every week, just different stories, how similar like they all really are. It's we're like the crew of the curious, you know, we went looking for something, even though we didn't know what we were looking for. And we all ended up together. Like it just, the energy just pulled us together, and we all got brought together by superfoods. You know, we all convened at the dining table, so to speak. And it's really, it's amazing to see what can happen once people start flooding their bodies with nutrition. Because I thought of myself as like this epic entrepreneur for so long. And it's like now this last year has been so humbling in so many ways. I mean, across the board, obviously, with just everything that was happening in the world. But personally, it was like listening to people who maybe didn't go to the same schools or anything like that, or have no schooling, sound and make leagues more sense business wise than you do. It's like it's like eye-opening, you know. And it's like, wow, like the fact that we have so many people from so many walks of life and so many different life experiences coming together, our community is so valuable and such an honor to be a part of. And it, you know, I was mentioning in the chat, just like, this is what people like, why they turn to religion, organized religion, because they're hungry for that belonging, that community. They just want to be
That's true.
with their neighbor, you know. And it's
true.
You can't be that if this isn't right, you know. It's just all of this all goes together. It's like it's all connected. It's a well-oiled machine if you just go with the flow, you know. It's just same thing like donate with Ron Seema. I was trying to reinvent the wheel so many times with them, and I'm like, God, like I'm just gonna stop and just go with it, because like why it's the ego. It's like, just God, get rid of it. And once you are able to do that, everything opens up. It's just, that is just such a wall. And I mean, across the board, you know, it's like, open your eyes, don't judge the person that's the hippy dippy. You know, sometimes, yeah, there's the Troy Caseys in life that can like really trigger you, but that's good too. You need to sit with that, right? And why does that trigger me? You know, that's just, the world needs all types. And, you know, it's, to me now, like before, things like that, JP, that used to really get under my skin, I welcome it now. It's like, oh, this guy, he wants to, okay, well, go ahead, lay it on me, let me hear it, you know. And really, when you read between the lines and stop thinking it's about you, you can kind of listen and see what they're really trying to say. And it really has nothing to do with you personally, you know. But anyway, yeah, this is great, JP. Thank you. I appreciate your time, and this has been awesome.
Wise words. Thank you, JL. Any takeaways, JP? Anything you want to leave us with? We've still got about 10 minutes or about left. So love to hear anything you want to share. Like, and also, what's your legacy looking like when you envision like your legacy at the end of that road, man? What do you think?
Well, hold on, Adam. Did you want to say something? I saw you unmute yourself.
Oh yeah, yes sir.
All right.
So with your nomadic lifestyle, I'd imagine there's a lot of dynamic change. Every single day is different, which is very exciting. My question is, do you have any constants, whether it's a routine in the morning or certain habits that you live by that you find optimize your health, wealth, success, you know, all that?
Yeah, great question, man. And I don't know if you heard this earlier, but I'm actually transitioning into a more grounded lifestyle right now. I'm settling into Beverly Hills here in a couple weeks. But the main reason for me settling in is because there was so much dynamic day-to-day living that I wanted to root myself and plant myself so I could really expand even further. But with that being said, yeah, routine is huge for me. And some of my non-negotiables were waking up and either doing a meditation or doing a Kriya. You know, doing a Kriya every day was something that, like, just waking up, getting outside and doing a little bit of movement, either Qigong, breath work. That was something that just I had to start my day off with. I'm really big with routine and ritual. And if I don't do it, I notice like my day gets a little out of whack, no matter how dynamic it's being. And so, and then if it like, you know, it might not be at the same time every day, but I would at least make a little effort. I'd make an effort sometime throughout the day to just move my body, do a Kriya, do some Qigong. But, you know, something that is also really powerful is waking up with the sun and watching, you know, sun gazing. When you're on the road and you're out in the desert, you know, I've relished waking up and watching that sunrise. And so that's something that always just put me in like a peaceful state of mind, a present state of mind. And then of course, you know, food, like having high quality food around me, which can be tough, you know, on the road. And that's why I turned to Purium so hardcore, was because I always had organic food around me, or a meal like wherever I was to, you know, satiate, you know, the hunger, like driving on the road and you're going to a grocery store, a gas station. And it's like, do I go in and get that Twix, or do I get that bag of chips, or I just go with the green drink that I have? And so, you know, those are some few things that like I just always had to have on me, or do day to day. And otherwise my day would fluctuate pretty bad.
I agree with
Love it.
that.
Thank you.
Totally. I totally agree with that, man. I've since I've started getting into doing Kriyas every day, I think I'm about 70 days into doing twice a day Kriyas and meditation. And
Nice.
man, my life has changed so much. And I used to do it all the time. It's easy to slip out of the habit, especially when I started working, you know, remotely and doing all these things. You focus so much on your business that you lose sight of your health and your wellness in like your circadian rhythm, or how you're, you know, waking up and going straight to a screen or something like that. So important that you mentioned that to me, because that's improved my life and my business so much, is to take care of yourself first before you can take care of anyone else.
Yeah, 100%, man. And Kriyas they're powerful, man. They really do tune you into you know, the frequency that you best see for yourself. It's all just like universal coding for, you know, our passions. And so man, those, if you guys haven't done Ra's Kriya of the week, or if you've never done breath work, highly encourage you to get into that. So, but yeah, Angelo, so some takeaways, unless there's other questions.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of Ra and the Kriyas, did you have as profound of an experience as I did? Because I have not been able to sleep past 5 o'clock in the morning ever since I spoke to Ra about what time I should be getting up every day. I swear to God, every time I talk to that guy, it's like he reprograms my brain.
Yeah. No, I've been
I'm doing the mantra, the one that he taught us.
yeah, I've been sleeping. It's hot. The abundance prosperity. Actually that's the Kriya of the week for this week. And so but I have been doing it every day. No, I'm still waking up like at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. Today I really slept, and I've been working out a lot more lately, so my body's like, it's really desiring more rest and sleep. So I'm honoring that. But I will be, when I'm moved into this next place and I am more in a stable environment, that is my intention, to wake up at 4:44 a.m. and doing this prosperity number 2 Kriya. But yeah, if you go to kriyaoftheweek.com, you can subscribe for Ra's Kriya. It's $11.11 a month, and it's changed my life. Like since I started doing it, I've noticed a lot more abundance, a lot more energetic alignment, and it's, you know, 15 to 20 minutes, or you can expand it out to an hour if you just with the routine, you can go as longer, or you can like add on the reps or go longer with the sets and whatnot. So, but yeah, it is the best.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. That's a good place. If anyone wants to jump in and have any other questions or share anything else, or if JP, if you want to give us a takeaway, anybody, welcome to jump on in. This has been a wonderful installment. Thank you so much, brother.
I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
What is Purium's vision in terms of expanding like to my part of the world, because I'm from the East. And and also I really agree with the fact that the community, because I'm trying to build this holistic community over here. And it really starts with food, it's like you have to start eating the same food at least to align in terms of the way you think and the way you visualize stuff. So yeah, like what's Purium's vision with that?
Yeah, that's a great question that I wish I had the answer to. But you're right, man. Like, a community starts with food, education, and money. And, that's what we are providing. But I don't know. One thing that you can try is talking to the person that you know and asking them to send you a pack individually. I've tried sending it through the company, and we had to like stop orders to international shipping. But with the expansion that we're going through right now in North America, I see a great potential for this to go worldwide very soon. And so just hang in there, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, I'm patient with this because I know it's definitely worth waiting for. It's a great, like the people that I've been able to follow through this company and, just see this great community you guys have. It's pretty inspiring.
Well, fortunately, you get to be a part of this community here too. And you can, spread that out into your own community, just with your own education and your own passions. I'm working with a guy over in Saudi Arabia right now, and helping him, create his own community through passion, through exercise, through holistic living. And he's starting up his own his plan is to start up his own juice bar. And so the potential is there. The potential is there for you to do it. You kind of just have to figure out your own way. And the more that you step into your passions, your own heart's desire, the universe will provide a way for you. So keep stepping into it, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I spoke with one of the Crowns, Michael Mazes, today, and he said that Purium was looking at expanding into Thailand before the COVID pandemic happened. And so they pulled back on that quite a bit because of things. But I think you're going to see some expansion coming up here not too long from now, because the company's growing really rapidly. Hopefully. Yeah. World domination, baby. Organic world domination for everybody, man. Everybody have access to organic foods.
World domination. I like that.
Well, it isn't too hard. I appreciate you so much, JP. And I love you and your inspiration. And I just have one really quick question.
Yeah, man.
I'm very curious, and I would love for just a little bit of insight on how do you feel as a collective we can truly transcend the entire ideology and understanding that people have in their minds of what health is as a whole, so that we can truly transition the entire, make it really global, make it a nationwide frequency elevation situation,
Well, Bash, I appreciate you for asking that question. Bash I recently had a phone call with him the other day, and he's actually the one who really held the space for me to pull out this story of sharing, my story of my near-death experience. So forever grateful for him, because it's allowed me to share even more. And so, and with that answer, man, personally, I feel that it comes down to us sharing our light as much as we possibly can, and holding that space for other people, because there is a lot of misinformed, uneducated people, and we have to I feel it's our responsibility to kill them with kindness, or heal them with kindness, and just allow them to go through their own dharma. Meanwhile, while we step into our passion, our light, and we honor that, then people around us begin to step into their own light. We give permission for other people to step into their healthiest self. And the more that we do that, the more that this collective body will continue to grow and continue to expand.
Yeah.
And, we're not here to heal everybody. We're not here to, convince everybody that organic food is the way to go, or the vaccine is, a detriment to their life. We just have to let them run out their course. And that's something that I've really had to come to terms with, is unfortunately, I know Angelo's here to convince, dude, I read your threads, and I'm like, do your thing, man. But I really feel that, there is a level of education, there's a level of inspiration, but we also have to accept that we're all on our own different path. And in that, we exist in our perfectness, and we allow other people to ignite their own light and their own perfectness of health, and allowing them to step into their journey of exploration and self-responsibility and self-experimentation. That's my 2 cents, man. And I'm just
You're beautiful soul. It's beautiful what you said. I completely agree on all levels. It's a topic you can go so deep into, because that's like the most authentic expression of what it truly is that I've received in a very long time. And I meditate on that often, because I try to express everything that Purium, for example, is building and generating and giving to this world. But yet we must be aware of how the expansion and how the destiny of our collective creation is going to manifest, because that's what true faith is. So that's my response to you. I agree.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Thanks for that. Thanks for asking. Thanks for sharing.
That's beautiful, JP. Thank you so much, brother, for your time. I know you're a busy man, and we really appreciate your knowledge, your gifts, and just for sharing, a look into your life and what it takes to become JP. An awesome dude. So, thank you all for being here and sharing the space with us. This has been a great call, and we're always here for you guys. If you guys want to reach out to any of us, we're here to serve. And if you need anything, we're here. So thank you, JP.
Thanks for having me on, Angelo.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you, JP.
Thank you all for holding the space for me
JP.
and allowing me to share.
Thanks, JP.
Great session, man. Thank you.
You guys are welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, JP. Thank you.